Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLES. Let's get to the news now. What if I told you that a player who hasn't stepped on an NFL field since 2022 might just be the missing piece the Eagles are looking for? That's right, we're talking about Nyheim Hines. The same versatile, explosive playmaker who, just a few years ago, was making waves in Indianapolis and then in Buffalo, but who's been out of sight due to a freak accident, a jet ski crash in the summer of 2023 that changed everything. It's not just a comeback story, it's a potential game changer for a team that's always aiming to elevate its game and reach that ultimate goal, the Super Bowl. Hines is a name that rings bells for Eagles fans who have followed his career since he was drafted in 2018. Picked in the 4th round, 104th overall by the Indianapolis Colts, Hines quickly proved he was more than just a typical running back. He was a dual-threat machine, capable of lining up both in the backfield and in the slot, creating mismatches and keeping defenses guessing. In his rookie season, he rushed for over 300 yards and scored 2 rushing touchdowns, but his real value came through his versatility. He hauled in 63 passes for 425 yards and scored 2 receiving TDs, showing that he could be an effective weapon in multiple ways. Throughout his 5 seasons with the Colts, Hines kept impressing. He finished with more than 200 rushing yards and added 10 rushing touchdowns, but his true strength was on special teams and as a receiver. In fact, he was one of the league's most dynamic returners, often electrifying crowds with his explosive kickoff returns. Remember that game in 2019 when he returned 2 punts for touchdowns, an 84-yard and a 71-yard return in the same game? That's the kind of game-changing ability that makes him stand out. He earned AFC Special Teams Player of the Week honors that season, and his ability to shift momentum with his special teams play was a huge asset for the Colts. But then, in 2022, everything changed. Mid-season, he was traded to the Buffalo Bills, a move that gave him another shot at elevating his career. And he did not disappoint. In Week 18, he returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns, one for 96 yards and another for 101 yards, making him one of just a handful of NFL players in history to score twice on kickoff returns in a single game. It was a spectacular display of his explosive speed and field vision, and it showcased what he could bring to a team that's looking for game-breaking special teams talent. Yet, life threw him a curveball. That jet ski accident in the summer of 2023 changed everything. It resulted in torn ACL and MCL injuries, sidelining him for the entire 2023 season. Imagine that, a player at the peak of his powers suddenly faced with a devastating injury that cast serious doubts on his future in the league. For months, Hines underwent grueling rehab, pushing through pain and setbacks, determined to come back stronger. And now, after nearly 2 years away from the game, he's declaring himself ready to return. That's the kind of resilience that NFL teams love, the ability to come back from adversity, especially after a life-threatening incident like this. So, why should the Eagles be interested in Nyheim Hines? Well, for starters, Philadelphia has been looking for ways to boost their return game, especially after the departure of some key players in recent seasons. Even with the signing of Avery Williams, the Eagles still have a need for a dynamic returner who can change the game in an instant. Hines' proven track record on special teams is undeniable, and his ability to shift between the running back position, slot receiver, and return specialist gives the team a lot of flexibility. Imagine the possibilities: a player who can line up in multiple spots, keeping defenses on their toes and providing that extra spark the team needs to turn the tide. And let's not forget the connection with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni was the offensive coordinator in Indianapolis from 2018 to 2020, which is exactly when Hines was drafted and began to make his mark. Sirianni knows Hines' game inside out, understands his strengths, and the kind of player he can be when fully healthy. That familiarity is a huge advantage, because it means Hins wouldn't need a long adjustment period. He'd be able to slot right into the offensive scheme and special teams units, contributing immediately. Now the question is, should the Eagles make a move? Well, considering his speed, which clocks a blazing 4:38 seconds in the 40-yard dash, and his history of durability before the injury, there's a lot to be optimistic about. Hins is known for his work ethic and his ability to stay healthy, and his prior production shows what he can do when at his best. His speed, agility, and ability to create explosive plays could be exactly what the Eagles need to elevate their special teams and add a new dimension to their offense. There are some legitimate concerns, of course. Post-injury explosiveness is always a question mark, especially for a player whose game relies heavily on speed and quick cuts. But Hins' work ethic, combined with his prior performance, and the fact that he's been cleared to return, suggest he's serious about making this comeback. It's also worth noting that his previous 3-year stint with Sirianni means there's already a level of comfort and understanding between the two. Hins himself has spoken openly about his journey. He's grateful to be alive, let alone to be pursuing an NFL comeback. In an interview with Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer, Hins said, "I'm far from done, and the story is in my hand." That's a powerful statement. He recognizes the adversity he faced, but he's also embracing the opportunity to write a new chapter. "I put myself in this position, but as athletes, we're in an unfortunate situation in a job. That we can't control everything, but the pen is always in our hand based on our performance," he added. It's that mindset that makes him a compelling candidate for the Eagles or any team that's looking for a high-motivation player with talent and resilience. And let's be honest, Eagles fans love a good redemption story. We've seen players come back from injuries, from off-field issues, and from doubts about their future. The team has a rich history of resilience, from the defensive grit of the early 2000s to the Super Bowl-winning teams of recent years. Adding a player like Hins, someone who's faced life-threatening adversity and is determined to prove himself again, fits perfectly into that narrative. It's not just about talent, it's about heart, perseverance, and the drive to be great. Now, imagining Hins in green, returning kicks in Lincoln Financial Field, electrifying the crowd, and providing that extra spark on offense, it's a tantalizing thought. The Eagles are known for their innovative offense, their creative use of players, and their ability to adapt mid-season. Bringing in someone like Hins, who can line up in multiple roles, could be a strategic move that pays dividends down the line. Especially as the NFC East heats up and division rivals make aggressive moves, the Eagles need to stay ahead of the curve, and a player with his skill set could be just what they need. In terms of team strategy, adding Hins could also be a low-cost, low-risk gamble, especially if he signs a short-term deal or enters training camp without a hefty contract. It's a classic prove-it scenario, but with high upside. If he can regain his top form, the Eagles could have a secret weapon that not many teams can match. And in the NFL, sometimes it's these under-the-radar additions that make all the difference in a playoff run. So, as we look ahead to the upcoming season, it's clear that the Philadelphia Eagles are always looking to improve and find new ways to dominate the NFC. The potential addition of Nyheim Hins, given his history, skills, and resilience, could be the kind of move that shifts the balance in their favor. It's about leveraging talent, experience, and heart to push for that elusive Super Bowl title once again. The Eagles are in a strong position, but with a little extra help in the return game and explosive plays on offense, they could be even more dangerous. In conclusion, Eagles fans, this story isn't over. Hins' journey back to the league is a testament to determination and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Whether he ends up in Philadelphia or not, the fact that we're talking about him at this stage shows how much potential he still has. It's a reminder that in the NFL, comebacks are always possible, and sometimes, the most unexpected stories become the most inspiring. Keep an eye on this situation because, if Hins returns to the league with the Eagles or another team, it's going to be one of those stories we'll be talking about all season long. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news.